there's a great process that I think is very timely called task delegation. Task delegation and work management. This process is in the 4 key functions in the guiding the business function. It's in the guiding the business function, task delegation and work management. Oftentimes, managers and leaders of any business are overwhelmed with their accountabilities. And we get overwhelmed with accountabilities because sometimes it's caused by the inability to delegate. And this inability to delegate comes from a lot of different personal issues that people have. Some of them could be unwillingness to trust other people, lack of confidence that someone's going to be able to do it the way that you do it, the skills to delegate, the resources to delegate. There's a variety of issues around delegation. You can read about delegation guidelines right here in the work plans, or in this work plan. There's a second work plan called Missed Accountability, and it's how to deal with an employee who you've delegated something to and they blow it. There's a script here on how to get feedback. But the heart of this is right down here. It's called the Delegation Exercise. So this is very simple. It's good for every employee, whether you're strapped with no resources or whatever your situation is. It's good for you to do something like this where you're really analyzing what it is that you can delegate and what it is that you can't. So this is really simple, you can see. So I would just list out the work that you could delegate right now, and then work you could never delegate. What this allows you to do is get perspective on what it is that you're doing. Oftentimes, the work you can delegate right now, if you document a process for how it's done, then it's much easier to delegate. So this is kind of forcing you to look at the scope of everything that you do, decide what could be delegated if you had a process documented for it, and then what you could never delegate. If you have any employees, including yourself, that are always overwhelmed, never have enough time, constantly working, complaining about how overwhelmed you are, this is there's no way to rationalize that with people sometimes, but this is a way to rationalize it. There's a custom form version of this too, the delegation exercise, the same thing. Work you can never delegate. Work you can delegate after you write a system for how to do it. Work you can delegate right now. This is actually a better format than the one I just showed you. So work you can never delegate. Work you can delegate after you write a system for how to do it. And then work you can delegate right now. Work you can delegate right now are things that you just don't need to be doing, that are simple enough that you can pass them on. Work that you can delegate after you write a process or a system for it is a high priority process to document. And then work you can never delegate. So think about your version of this. Use this with your managers or employees who are stressed out and are always complaining that they don't have time. It's an uncomfortable exercise sometimes for people. So if you have an employee like that, if they want to get out of just complaining about it, which some people just need to complain all the time, you could put your foot down and say, okay, I understand the complaining, but now let's really look at it. For real, let's look at it. Let's see what really falls into this category, or this category. What this will also give you is your high priority processes to delegate. You can then look back at your organization chart and say, well, the work that I'm doing here in this position, if I could document a process for it, then I could move myself out of this role. So you can see it through the org chart, or you could simply see it just by filling out a form like this. Michael Gerber used to say that advocating accountability is much different than delegating. To truly delegate, you need to have accurate, good training, written processes. That way you can truly delegate something. You advocate it, it just means you're pushing it off on someone and expecting them to know how to do it, and then oftentimes getting mad when they don't. So think about this process and going through a simple exercise like this and deciding or seeing what kind of impact it'll have.